What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of A Talk on Titan. I am here, as always, with Mr. Ben Goddard. What's up, bro?
What's up? Oh, man, just like, how good are the weekends in TV right now? Thursday night at midnight, we get WandaVision. Friday afternoon, we get Jujutsu Kaisen. And then Sunday afternoon, we get Attack on Titan. Like, it's just a great weekend.
It's been fun, man. It really has been. I just started Jujutsu Kaisen. I was talking to you off screen about it, and I'm loving it, and I can't wait to be caught up with you guys. I'll probably catch up right after this. But it's been a blast, man. WandaVision's kind of taken over, like completely taken over. So It's been fun.
Yeah, like people were digging it. And then once that last whoever knocked on the door cliffhanger happened, like I feel like it just jumped up to this big new level, and now it's just like appointment viewing officially. And it's still not as anticipatory, if that's the correct word, as Attack on Titan, but it's up there now. Like I'm like, okay, like I'm looking forward to Thursdays now. But now, with Attack on Titan, I'm still like counting down to 1 p.m. on Sunday afternoons.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely it's reached a different level, to be honest. Like every week has escalated to the point that I really do think these final 2 episodes are going to be like must-watch TV type of stuff.
Yes.
It's so cool. It's so cool. But obviously, we're here to talk about Attack on Titan. This episode was called Deceiver. It was episode 11. Only 5 episodes left?
Yeah. Crazy.
Really? Damn.
Yeah, it's official, though. Like, on one, I'm sad we only have 5 weeks left. But on the other hand, I know we're getting a part 2. I didn't think we were getting a part 2 when this started. But there's no way this stuff wraps up in 5 episodes.
There's no way. There's
Attack
really
on Titan's
no way.
Great at filling all 23 minutes, cover to cover of an episode, but we are definitely getting a part 2 to finish this out.
We have to, because there's absolutely no way we're going to get World War III and everything that's been going on with an episode that's about Gabi escaping prison. No offense to this episode, but that's kind of what it was about mainly.
Yes.
And let's get right to that, Ben, because I feel like we should get it out of the way, because even though it took up the whole episode, I don't want it to take up our whole conversation. Yeah, I know your title is Gabi Just Stop. Pretty much, man. I mean, I can't lie. I'm still not on board with taking kids' heads off or throwing kids out of a plane. Call me crazy. But at the same time, I'm definitely not on board with Gabi either. I'm definitely annoyed by her.
Bro, she murdered another Islander today.
She did. But my thing is, like, let's kind of talk about her experience as far as going to the Bros household, Sasha's parents, and then meeting Kaya, and then learning about how her mom was eaten. And we saw that happen too, which was kind of interesting, seeing her tell the story that we already saw.
Yeah.
But her trying, like, very slowly coming to terms with the fact that they've been through some stuff too, and they're not devils. They're just people living their lives. What do you think of that entire storyline that took up pretty much the whole episode?
This is what makes Attack on Titan great, is because for us, this was just an episode in season 2, and it was like a character building thing for Sasha, where it's like, okay, Sasha's not just this goofball who loves to eat. No, she had her true hero moment in this. But yeah, it's a 4-year jump, but of course someone's going to be living with that trauma for the rest of their life, watching their mom get eaten alive in front of them and screaming themselves hoarse. And because even when we with Sasha got to her mom was still alive. Her mom was still alive. I think she died when, the Titan let her go, but she was still alive, like up just the most horrific death possible. So yeah, of course this girl is going to be traumatized for her name Kaya. Yeah, Kaya was traumatized for her entire life. And so seeing that, like how forgiving she is, that immediately she knows these are the 2 prisoners from Marley. She knows that, but still takes them in, still wants to convince them they're not, like, the Islanders aren't devils. And just the conversation, and especially after we've had a solid 10-15 minutes of Gabi being Gabi, like killing the guard, like almost killing Kaya again, and then finally getting to the house and basically shutting her up and being like, why does my mom deserve to die? Okay, my ancestor did this. What about my mom? answer that. Like, it was like, answer me this question. And she couldn't. And I really loved that moment.
Yeah, no, it was good, man. And it's definitely a slow process, slower than I thought. I was hoping that by the end of the episode, it would end with Gabi kind of coming to terms with being like, oh, crap, you're right. Or at least halfway there. But it seemed like she was like maybe like half a step considering like maybe she was wrong or maybe this whole thing is wrong. It's going to take a minute. It's going to take a while.
It's going to take a while, and it's going to be up to Falco. It's Falco is going to have to be the voice of reason, because like he's already stopped her twice, if not
from
more
killing.
Yeah, from killing somebody, and like just how irrational Gabi is with her sensationalism, and it makes you think like she's just got her blinders on with everything that's happened, and she refuses to learn any other point of view. And it does remind me a lot of Eren. Like I just watched the episode where Eren is in the tree with Reiner, Ymir, and Bertolt, and he doesn't want to listen to anything, like not a thing. But it's, in one hand, Eren was ignorant of all these facts. Eren didn't know that anyone even existed outside the island, let alone that there were other persecuted people and they're all Eldians and all the backstory. Gabi knows this, at the very least.
She does.
Has she been fed propaganda and lies her entire life? Yes, that cannot be overlooked. But she also knows that there are fellow Eldians and they were banished to this island. And I don't know, like it makes me, it's hard to even sympathize with Gabi. Like, I'm getting to that point where like, yeah, I get it. Like, you're a child soldier, but there's a time where Falco's at least getting on board with listening.
Yeah, because he was brainwashed too.
Yeah, exactly. Like he went through the exact same training as a warrior candidate.
Yeah.
But it's just like, I don't know. I'm real sick of Gabi.
The real problem too is the fact that I feel like Gabi is an Eldian. She's not, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's one of those things where it's like, these are your fellow Eldians. They might be banished Eldians and they might be Eldians that you consider to be devils, but it's still Eldians nonetheless. It's not like she's a Marleyan looking down on them. That would be a different dynamic of like an actual like non-interment zone Marleyan came to the island. They would probably act like Gabi would. But the fact that Gabi is an Eldian who gets discriminated against because she's Eldian, it's like, girl, open your eyes. Like, damn, this is insane. Like, you got to get it by now that these people are the same as you. No different. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I understand her point, you know, the speech she made to Falco before she got on the airship of like, you know, I wanted this patch to mean something because I wanted to become a warrior. I wanted to prove there are good Eldians. But it's like, at a certain point, you have to realize that's never going to happen. Like, and
I feel like, she doesn't get it. She thinks that these people are the reason why Eldians have a bad reputation. Yes. So if she gets rid of these people, all of a sudden she's going to go back to Marley as a hero, and all the Eldians are going to be set free, and it's going to be Gabi, and her family's going to be raised high on a pedestal, and Eldians are going to be respected all around the world. All we have to do is get rid of these Eldians, because these Eldians give us a bad name. Mm-hmm. So that's why I got to keep my armband on to show people that I'm a good Eldian. And it's like, that's all BS. It's all propaganda. It doesn't matter what you do. It's still going to be the same.
And that's the thing. And Falco's slowly realizing that, you know, probably thanks to Reiner telling him like, okay, you need to tell Gabi she needs to wake up here and you need to save her. So I don't know. Like it's not that I didn't enjoy the episode. I thought it was a good episode, but it's just like, I need something different to happen with Gabi for me to even remotely get on board with her in any sense of the word. Falco's a good boy. Falco's the good boy here, and I'm rooting for him. But on the other hand, Falco's also the reason Reiner's getting back into the fight.
Yeah, it's very interesting, and I'm curious what's going to happen with this storyline for sure. But I think it's going to go on for a little bit longer, which also goes into our ideas of like, there's definitely going to be a part 2. There's no way 5 episodes we're going to finish this. No. Like, we're scratching the surface just with this, man. Yeah. Let's jump to everything else we got this episode. We got Azuma Bitu coming back to the island and coming to Zachary, or Zach, I think is his name.
Zacharias.
And and she came in with a weapon that she called a flying boat that's powered by what do they call it? The frozen
the iceberg stones, right?
Iceberg stone. And it looked like a straight up like chopper. I don't know if you saw the shape of it, but it looked like a helicopter. What do you think that's going to be, and how do you think that's going to come to play? Because she said it was a way to test out the rumbling.
That's what shook me. It's like I was like, okay, I get because they have dirigibles or airships, whatever you want to call them. Marley does. So I get that they would want to build some kind of aircraft, but to help test out the rumbling, is it to where either Zeke or Eren, they can both be in the helicopter above the Colossal Titans controlling them? Like, so they're not on the ground level, when like, and they're in this episode, like, why are you evacuating Sheen and Sheena? Because I feel like that's going to be like, that little outcrop right there. That's where they're going to test the rumbling. So they're evacuating that town because maybe, when the Colossal Titans get awoken, there might be some explosions like how Armin transforms.
That's a good point. I didn't even realize that. I mean, I would just consider it regardless of the fact that if there wasn't an explosion or not, if they are going to test out the rumbling, it's probably not a good idea to have people there.
Yeah.
But the fact that it's like this crazy, it looks like a chopper, like from like the Black Ops unit or something like that. You know what I'm saying?
It honestly looks insane.
But it's exciting because it kind of goes into what I predicted last. I didn't predict it. I just pitched it. The idea that maybe Hizuru is a country that is a weapons specialist type of nation. And maybe they did make the ODM gear, which is why it's so dangerous. And now that they have the Iceberg Stone back, they can just escalate their creation of crazy, insane weapons like this chopper. So
and that's the thing. And I think it's also kind of like, see what we can do with the Iceberg Stone. This is why you should give us exclusive rights to it. Yeah. So I feel like it was kind of like a twofer thing where, yes, this will help you out, but this is also kind of a sales pitch to see like what we can do with the Iceberg Stone. Here, I'm going to share my screen real quick. I just pulled it up from share screen. There we go. Oh, see, Crunchyroll is doing this where you can't share screens anymore. It doesn't let you share the screen.
If you pause it'll just go to black, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's too bad.
Yeah. Okay.
It's a picture of the chopper though.
It was a picture of the chopper. I don't know if I have my Hulu.
I keep calling it a chopper. It's she said it was a flying boat, but it looked like a actual helicopter. Yeah. So that's why I keep calling it that. But to me, I was like, that's kind of insane that they're flying around in Zeppelins, and now we're going to like a straight up Black Ops military chopper. That's a different level, dude. That's like 100 years. And this thing of technology.
I was just rewatching the Levi versus Kenny fight, and it was like if Kenny and Kenny Squad had the weapons that they had, in Marley, Kenny would have died. If they didn't have single shot pistols, like Levi would have died right there. And so like just that advancement of technology probably gave them, and they even said it like they couldn't get what's his name, the Marley general Magath. Says like they can't make this on their own. They can't make this anti-personnel ODM gear this advanced on their own. They can't fly the dirigible on their own. So there's some spies in there. Did you think for a second when it came to that he was going to start pointing fingers at any of the warrior candidates?
I thought that when episode 7 happened and they escaped and Peak said, hey, by the way, I think they're working with Zeke. When she said that, I thought they were burying their grave. I thought they were going to go after all the Eldians and the warriors, but it turns out he trusts them more now because of that, and he trusts Reiner now more because of that. And obviously Peak and Galliard are still on the same page, but it's one of those things where it seems like Magath wanted to get out. He wanted Eren to do his thing, not just so he can declare war, but also so he can be supreme leader and he can do a little bit more warrior stuff, because the other brass, the military generals, were a little bit more hesitant towards the warriors. And he seems to be gung-ho about him. Like, hey, let's do this. I trust you guys. Versus the other military generals might have been a little bit more hesitant.
Oh yeah, that's what the entire conversation between him and Tiber was like, he's like, a lot of people are gonna die. Like, you're gonna make this speech and you're gonna be a target, and they're probably gonna attack. A lot of people are gonna die. A lot of innocent Eldians are gonna die. And Tiber, you yourself are probably gonna die. And he's like, I know. I can't make this sacrifice and me not die for the world to not unite. Because everyone loves Tiber. Everyone loves the guy. He was, shaking hands and kissing babies at the party the night before. So he knew that he had to die to unite the world against the Islanders. Otherwise, the Marleys don't like the Islanders because they want the Titans back, but everyone else is like, we don't like you either, Marley, so why wouldn't we? Like, the enemy of my enemy kind of thing. And, they even said that when the world found out that they lost the Colossal and Founding Titan and the female Titan. They're like, okay, time to attack Marley. This is the one time they've ever been weak since they took all the Titans. Let's do it. And they still lost. But now that the world is united against the island, now it's game time, basically.
Yeah. We could jump right to that if you want. So our post-credit scene was McGath basically saying that there's a 6-month period for them to wait for the global alliance to join them and to attack the island of Paradise. And obviously, Reiner gets all pissed off, and so does Colt. Shout out to Colt, because Colt is the only one in there that doesn't have a Titan, even though he was supposed to have a Titan. But they conclude that Zeke was working with Paradise, even though we still don't know what's going to happen with that. He was supposed to be
the Beast Titan, right? Colt was supposed to be the Beast Titan? Yeah.
And then Reiner is like, let's just sneak in. Let's just go in, sneak attack style, and us three, basically, 3 of us just go in and try to take him down before the global alliance can get there, because by then he said that Zeke will have his way, and that Zeke since he's such a crazy strategic mind, they're like, dude, Zeke is scary. Like, if you give him 6 months, he's going to kill us all. So they're like, let's go in quick. What'd you think of that whole idea between Reiner and them going on undercover again back to the island?
That's the thing. They know. I'm surprised that they found out that Zeke wasn't dead so fast. But I mean, these aren't dumb people as their enemies. They aren't like these bumbling idiots that they're fighting against. They're very well equipped and they're very smart. And so the fact that, and I said that like Reiner was ready to die, but the minute Falco attached himself to the airship, it was like, damn it, this is gonna get Reiner back in the fight. And because that was the thing, is that like he said, like you said, if you give Zeke 6 months, we won't win this fight. It doesn't matter how many troops we have and what our armies are. Zeke will prepare for a known 6-month attack and be like, he will be ready for us. But with this surprise attack and not giving them a chance to plan, and Reiner's goal, I don't think Reiner's goal is to beat the island. He just wants to get Gabi and Falco back. That's his goal. He doesn't really care about this war. He wants to save these kids from the trauma that he's gone through. But
especially his cousin.
Yeah, his cousin. And that's the thing. I don't know. It's a scary thought because those 3 are very, very capable warriors. Yeah. Reiner, when he sets his mind to something, is like I just watched, the season 2 finale where, he's literally launching Titans at them and, is almost unstoppable. I don't know what he can do against Eren and Zeke combined, because he lost to Zeke one-on-one. He kind of lost to Eren one-on-one with just the Attack Titan, let alone the Warhammer Titan as well.
Do you think Reiner? I still think Reiner's the X factor here, and I know I keep saying that. I've been saying that since episode 1 of season 4. But the fact that Reiner might still, like we said that Reiner might have a weird moment where it's not necessarily him like forgiving everything and being like peace and love, but maybe he makes a treaty or something that he pulls a Zeke basically, where he's like, hey, let me meet up with Hanji, let me meet up with Levi. Let me do something that Peak and Galliard aren't in on and they won't know about, but I'll make a deal and then we can try to get something going.
I think absolutely. I think if it's just them 4, if it's just, 3 probably.
I don't know if Colt's going to go.
I don't think Colt would go. I think he might be there on hand to take, Zeke's Titan, like right then and there.
That's a good point. He might go because of that.
Yeah, he might go there to maybe turn the tide. But I could absolutely see them all transforming. Reiner, immobilizing Galliard and Peak, and then be like, okay, I'm actually here to talk. You have all the Titans at your disposal. Let's end this cycle of violence. Otherwise,
like right now,
otherwise the entire world is going to come fight you right now. And there are anti-Titan weapons. You can have all 9 Titans. You could still lose this fight right now. And lest we forget, Annie's in waiting. I don't know how conscious Annie is. I don't know what her state of mind is. It's been 4 years. Where she's at and what strength she will have when she comes out of her crystal. But she for me is the X factor. Reiner I think is for sure trying to, get the Titans, the warriors separated from the Marley army. But I think Annie's the true X factor of this.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I actually think the season part 1 is going to end with maybe Annie popping out of the shell or something like that.
Yeah.
I think that's the best way they can end that. But I keep thinking that Reiner is going to be the one who's trying to think a couple steps ahead and not just think like, hey, let's just go in there and kill as many people as we can, because that clearly won't work.
Yeah.
You're going to have to hit at the top, which is Eren and Zeke, or Eren and Armin. Either way, those are heavy hitters. So you're going to have to either do something unique and crazy, or you're going to have to talk this out, make a treaty, something to make the cycle stop, like you said. I could almost even see, man, like you imagine every single Titan on Paradise. I didn't even realize that. Like, now that I think about it, if they wanted to, if Reiner wanted to, he could be like, yo, I'll knock out Peak and Galliard. You got 2 Titans here. I'll give myself up if it means you'll stop the war, or if it means you'll do something else. You know what I'm saying? Like, what if they can have, now that they have all the Titans on Paradise, they can give Peak to someone else, and then they could give Galliard to someone else, and then Reiner gives himself up.
And we're starting to see that with the Islanders, is that there's 2 schools of thoughts with the Islanders. One with Hanji, with Pixis, and with Armin and Mikasa. It's a live and let live. Like, they want to just be like, dude, like, you don't mess with us, we don't mess with you. If you want to trade with us, we have this very valuable thing. We want to be part of the world, but also if you don't, we'll just leave you alone. We're not going to attack if you don't attack us. And then you have the Yelenas, you have the Zeeks, you have apparently now the Flocks that are like, no, they're going to attack regardless, so we need to strike first. We need to do the rumbling. We need to kill everybody, kill all our enemies. Every single Marley's an enemy. There's no difference between soldiers, women, and children. Innocents, there's none of that. Kill them all, and then when the dust settles, everyone will not mess with us, or we'll go back to being the Eldian rulers with the Titans, like, thousands of years ago. So those seem to be the 2 schools of thoughts for the Islanders. And I'm wondering who's going to win out. You have Pixis talking with Yelena, which I'm very much looking forward to next week. I think it's going to be a great conversation. And we find out that Flock and a few other soldiers, one of them, who Mikasa rescued in season 1 in the attack on Trost, are, I don't want, you want to say Eldian nationalists, Eldian loyalists? Like, I don't know how to describe them, but maybe like the radicals, maybe more like the Malcolm X to the Martin Luther King aspect of like, no, you want something, we got to take it.
I don't know, because it really makes it seem like there's 2 different versions to it, and it might be Flock is on Yelena's side.
Mm-hmm.
And we got a little bit of clues. I didn't catch this the first time through, but I caught it the second time through. What Pixis was saying to Yelena, he said, hey, we know that Flock was changed out of guards for you. We know that you left the party early, and we know that you were found next to Eren right before he left. So basically, he's implying you spoke to Eren right before he went to Marley. What did you say to him? Like, what was the deal you guys made? But clearly, they're implying that Yelena somehow got in contact with Eren, said something to him, and then that's what ignited him to go to Marley. What do you think of that whole thing?
Well, that goes back to where Eren and Zeke are on their own page right now because, Yelena and Zeke are in the same mind and she worships him as a god. So, of course, Yelena wants to get Eren and Zeke hooked up and linked up and in the same mindset. And Yelena probably told him Zeke's plan. It was like, hey, this is what Zeke wants to do. Did he transform an entire village into Titans? Did he destroy all the scouts? Yes, but this is why he was trying to do that. He wasn't trying to kill you. He just wanted the power of the Titan because he knew he could awake the rumbling and save the Eldian people's oppression and save them from basically mass execution. And so if Eren's on that mindset of, having the generations of violence in his head with the Attack Titan and the Founding Titan, he's like, this might be the only way. Because he waited 3 years for Hanji, for Armin, for anybody to come up with a plan that didn't involve Historia taking the Beast Titan, but nothing came up. So he's like, this must be it. This has to be the plan to save everyone. And he went rogue and tried to do it. And this is where we are today.
Yeah, it's very interesting because I want to see that scene between Yelena and Eren and what exactly was said and what she basically told him to convince him that, hey, by the way, we got to try something a lot more aggressive, a lot more violent because of such and such, whatever it was that she said. But essentially, we do know that Yelena is, good intentions or not, she is kind of two-facing right now with Pixies and with Hanji because she did get in contact with Eren. There's way too many coincidences to not conclude that. And so I knew we don't know what she's planning.
And we both called it from the second. It's like, oh, we like Yelena. She's smart. Wait, she might be a little too smart. Like, I don't like her anymore. Like, she had that look to her where we're like, yeah, she had the best intentions. And I still think she does. Again, I don't think anybody on the island, now granted, we talked about this, whatever they're drinking in that drink, they might be, we
didn't even address that, yeah.
Yeah, they might be habitually stepping over these lines. But for now, again, it goes back to a certain point of view. It goes back to what they think they're doing is right. And it's just the way they go about it. Hanji and Armin want to sit down and talk at the table, and Eren, Zeke, and Flock and Yelena are like, that's not going to work. We got to take actions into our own hands right now.
Yeah, I'm so curious how that's going to finish up. But yeah, speaking of that, let's quickly go to that ending between Gabi and Kaya, which kind of concludes with her talking about Nicolo. Shout out to Nicolo, who said, hey, by the way, I'm going to this Marleyan restaurant, is what she said. You're invited. Maybe if you go there, you can find your way back home or something. So that kind of sets up a confrontation or a meeting with Nicolo. I don't know if Gabi's going to recognize him. Probably not. But maybe, because they're both soldiers. Yeah. But he was a cook for the soldiers, I think, is what he was. But either way, it kind of goes to show you that maybe there is more to this. And maybe Gabi is, instead of Gabi kind of walking back her brainwashing, she's only going to double down on it, maybe. Yeah. Maybe Nicolo's going to be like, hey, Gabi, now that you're here, help me poison these dudes or help me kill the military police. I don't know, whatever Nicolo's plan is, because he's definitely trying to do something that's conniving. We just don't know what it is.
He's doing something. And, we talked about it in the DMs. Someone left a comment on our video last week where we still don't know what the first step is for Zeke to transform people into a Titan. We saw his yell.
I haven't seen it. Yeah.
Saw the yell in episode 1 with the airship. But you look back at them and they've got like this like weird, like they looked knocked out. They look dazed. They look different.
Drunk?
Yeah, they look drunk. It could be drunk. And we don't know how he transformed the entire village. If his power is just to yell at any Eldian and then transform, then he would just be doing it all the time. So I think there is something. It could be poison. It could just be a basic poison or a sleeping pill or something like that. But I do think that is his plan. Is like he's gonna have. They won't know this liquid is inside him, and when he yells at like the most opportune moment, they're all going to transform into Titans, and he's going to use it to get away.
Yeah, because it'll be too much for them to handle because it's so many Titans because they're all Eldians.
Yeah. Why do you think Eren is staying in prison? Because he says He can leave anytime he wants. And if he wanted to, he could probably bust out Zeke. Could Levi take him and Mikasa? Possibly. I think now it's officially even with the Warhammer and Zeke. It's probably even. Maybe a little towards the scouts because, Levi is God mode. But he could get out Zeke and they could do this. So why do you think is he still... And this is why I still think it could possibly just be a sleeping drought because I don't think Eren wants to hurt anybody on the island.
That's interesting, right? Because it kind of goes back to how we started this episode. Besides Gabi, we did get Azuma B2. And she did say, I'm here to talk to Eren and Zeke. And you know what I'm saying? Like, they're still kind of going along with Zeke's plan. Like, even Hanji was like, you're right, I am still kind of going with Zeke's plan. Even though I hate it, I'm still going along with it. So we still need Eren and Zeke to be a part of this plan that we kind of made. So I still feel like maybe Eren realizes like they're doing it my way. They're just begrudgingly doing it my way. So I might as well stay in my cell and wait for them.
Yeah.
Because either way, they have no choice but to listen to me. He even implied it last week when he talked to Hanji, when he was like, hey, I'm ultimate power. You got nothing up your sleeve. You got no choice but to trust me and Zeke to do this. I guess I'll stay in the cell, but, keep in mind that I can break out anytime. So I think he's going along with them. And I think they're going along with him because they brought that freaking chopper.
Yeah.
So I just think they're going about it in a very cautious way. So
I think they're definitely slow playing it. And honestly, even looking back on Eren's interaction with Hanji, you can say, you can look at it like a threat, but you can also look at it as like a cry for desperation. Like, he's like, I waited. I let you try and scheme for 3 years and you came up with nothing. Do you have anything yet? And it was almost like, Eren could definitely be the antagonist of this show now. It's very possible. But it's also like, I'm just holding on, because I'm watching, I'm rewatching for the billionth time. I'm like, oh, good boy, Eren. Even though, like, the more you watch it, the more of a dumbass he is. But it's like a cry for help. He's like, do you have anything up your sleeve? Tell me, so we don't have to do this. Otherwise, we're gonna do it. Okay, because there's no other choice anymore. And so it's a tough it's a tough tightrope to walk here. But yeah, and that's the thing is that when people say, oh, this was a slow episode, it's like, no, like, I understand. Like, one, I hate Gabi. I get it. But like, there's still so much, and I'm waiting. Do you think, going back to Gabi, do you think they're gonna find out? Do you think Gabi is gonna find out that her sister is Sasha, the girl she killed is their daughter?
I think that's the point, right? I think the point is to establish a relationship before she finds out. I thought she was gonna find out right away, like as soon as she walked in. But I think the point is to make her like really like Kaya and be like, man, Kaya's awesome. I love her. And she's inspired by this one person she keeps talking about. And then eventually she's going to be like, oh my God, all this time you were talking about Sasha, the person I killed. Like, I think that's going to be a reveal that kind of maybe even turns Gabi. Maybe even it turns her. It could.
I got to give a shout out to the subtitles when it's like, you're youngins, you got to fill up your belly, but it's in Japanese. I'm like, oh yeah, I forget that Sasha's like a country girl that lives out in the sticks. I love it.
Yes. Speaking of that, she said that's a South Marley accent, a Southern Marley accent is what she called it, Gabi, which made me feel like, oh, we've never actually gotten like confirmation as far as languages and accents and how Paradise. Because that's what I thought too. As soon as Falco was talking to Kaya, and how Falco was having just literally the same conversation with him, and I was like, okay, so they obviously speak the same language, but is there different accents? Is there different dialects? Is the traditions differently? Like when Falco and Gabi bowed, and he was like bowing, and he was like, well, no need to bow, kids.
There's definitely difference because in season 2, when Ymir finds that can of herring and then she reads it before she realizes what she's doing, she's like, oh, good, herring. And she goes, and she's like holding it. She's like, I just read something of a language I shouldn't know. Yeah. And
we still haven't addressed that, right?
Yeah. Well, it's a language because Reiner is like, oh, let me take a look at it. He's like, wait, how do you know how to read it? And that's when he realizes she's from the mainland. I don't think he realized she was the one that ate his friend, but he probably had a good idea because otherwise, how else would she not just be a pure Titan?
Yeah, but they're the same though. Reiner and Ymir are both Eldians living in Marley.
Yeah.
So it's interesting why she was able to read it and maybe Reiner wasn't. And also when Zeke first came there and talked to Mike, and he was like, "I'm pretty sure we're speaking the same language. Why aren't you talking back to me?"
Yeah.
Also implying language there. So when Gabi said that's a South Marley accent, implying that Marley is the predominant language around the world, and that he happens to have that accent, even though he's on Paradise. I don't know. It was something that to me was interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And also the whole bowing when they came in too.
Yeah.
And how he reacted to that, being kind of like, "Hey, don't worry, kids. Like, we're just here to have food. Like, no need to be proper." So it's, I don't know. I'm curious about that and how they're going to address the idea of how much the Eldians take from Paradise and vice versa. So
yeah,
that was cool. That was really cool.
Can more horses bite Gabi in the head, please? That'd be great. And
yeah. I've seen so many memes today, bro.
It was like, so great.
The horses just like finish her.
Yeah.
Straight up.
Oh my gosh.
It's pretty funny.
She's just, and I'm trying not to just throw her away. Like I'm trying not to call her a lost cause or anything like that, but it's just shut up. That's all I'm asking you to do. Just shut up and listen for a second. Just for a second. Just shut up.
Well, actually, I'm curious because she said her mission now is to talk to Zeke.
Yeah.
She told Falco, she's like, my mission now is just, I want to talk to Zeke and then I'm cool. I can die or I can peace out.
Yeah.
I just need to find out why he did what he did because he was the greatest one of us all. He was the leader of us. And I'm curious because we still don't know if Zeke is truly on Paradise's side. Like, we don't know if maybe Zeke is going to be like, yeah, Gabi, by the way, do the thing. And like,
he
join my side.
To them too. He was like, "Can I get a chance to talk to Gabi and Falco?" So I don't think Zeke is on his own. Zeke is on Eldian's side.
Yeah.
Whether or not anybody survives or like who chooses to live or die is probably like Zeke is going to think it's up to them. He's like, you can go along with my plan and survive, or you can die trying to stop my plan, but my plan is going to happen regardless. Like the rumbling is going to happen regardless. So you can either be with us or you can get run over kind of thing. Like I feel like that's Zeke's mentality. Like he does want to save Eldia and its people, but Zeke's not tunnel vision because he's too smart to tunnel vision, but he's like, this is the way to do it and I'm going to do it.
Yeah. I'm curious what that interaction is going to be because I see Zeke having an answer for almost everything, but I don't know how he's going to react to maybe a Gabi being like, what was that about? And he's going to be like, actually, I'm a triple agent, Gabi. Or like, I don't know what he's going to say. Or maybe he's going to be like, Gabi, you've been brainwashed. Like everything you've ever heard is a lie.
Maybe that's the one person that can get to her. War Chief Zeke, like literally Eldia's like knight in shining armor, who's been the best Titan in the history of Marley.
Yeah,
is the one
turned in his own parents.
Yeah, turned to his own parents and could be like, bro, I have done everything for Marley, including killing my mother and father. Like, trust me when I say you were on the wrong side. Like,
yeah, I'm so curious because I do feel like we still don't know what Zeke's mentality is. And I'm so curious to find out because I think really he is another X factor because of the fact that he has done everything that is so pro Marley to the point that I'm like, how now are you like the most pro Eldian, like Eldian Empire guy there is out there? We don't know. So I'm curious why.
Was Zeke's grandmother the one that was talking to Annie's father right before? Was that Zeke's grandmother? Or who was that?
That was Reiner's mom.
That was Reiner's mom. Got it. I was wondering if Zeke's grandmother made it, and because he was raised by his grandparents, obviously, I was wondering if they made it through the events at the assembly, but we don't know. I don't think we've seen them yet. So I'm wondering, like, if he'll sacrifice his own mom and dad, I wouldn't put it past them to be like, I don't think I can warn my grandparents to stay away from this event because I feel like it might tip them off. So yeah, I think, and that's the thing is that I think Yelena is almost the opposite of where she'll do anything Zeke tells her to, including sacrificing herself or doing anything for him. So Zeke has all his ducks in a row, and I'm hoping Hanji snaps out of her depressive state right now and her overwhelmed state and gets it together, because there's some bad stuff on the horizon for the Islanders.
I think she will, man. I think she's coming to terms with what she's dealing with, but it really was a moment of like, scream into the void and then kind of come back to earth that she had. You had her kind of like break down and then be like, okay, I got to do this. I'm the commander. This is what I do. So I like that moment, if I'm being honest. I think it was cool.
I do too. And I'm glad it ended with her being like, I'm so tired. Nope, I got to go interview more people. Like, I love that, because we got one moment, 1 or 2 moments of vulnerability with Hanji, but she just got right back up on that horse, and she knows her duty. She knows her job, and she knows the importance of it. And that's who Hanji is. She's like so enthusiastic. And I miss, goofy, crazy Hanji. But, command changes you. So I don't blame her for being a different person now. And I'm looking forward to seeing what she comes up with to counteract Zeke's plan and possibly to counteract Eren.
Yeah, it's interesting because I feel like she's going to go along with Zeke's plan, as she said, and Eren's plan. But I feel like she's going to have a few like requirements or conditions maybe that will
I think she's down to do the test. I don't think she wants to use the rumbling. I think she's down to do the test run and like maybe, either take photographs of it, because there's photographs. I don't know if there's film or not in this world. I don't think there is motion pictures, but they do have photographs, and be like, here's a photographs of, Shing and Sheena's Wall of Titans, which is at least, a couple hundred probably. There's the rumbling. Try and mess with us, or we can talk. That's all she wants to do is talk. Just get at a table and talk. And they, we saw even when they was like, oh, welcome to the island of where you drink pig's piss. Welcome to the island of the devils. You're gonna have a great time. Like, if Levi greets him, fine. Just talk at a table for a second.
Yeah, the more I think about it, man, the more I think about how this anime has dealt with technology. And I go all the way back to how this episode started with that flying boat chopper. And I keep wondering, like, maybe there's some sort of way where, they pull a Legend of Korra season 1. And I keep saying this, but when Sato made the planes and they said, oh, you have, we have like straight up flying planes and we're going to bomb Paradise. So regardless of how big your Titans are, if we're flying in the air, like even the general said it in the second episode, he said, do we have Titans that fly? Yeah. Like, if we can make like bombers, like heavy ass bombers, maybe that'll be enough to like pop Paradise and just obliterate him, regardless of Colossals.
And I think it was Iman and Abby that were talking about like Falco possibly being like a flying Titan, that like this undiscovered 10th Titan. The more this show goes on and, watching old episodes, how many bird references there are, how many images of birds
this episode
there are.
With Mikasa.
This episode alone, like there's going to be a flying Titan. Like, I don't know who it's going to be. I don't know.
Or maybe the flying Titan is a F-16.
It could be a plane.
Yeah,
it could be a Black Hawk helicopter. Like, who knows? It could be technology. It could be, the 10th Titan, which is kind of what this episode, like this season started as. It's like, yeah, it was a Marley victory, but now the world knows it's officially caught up to the Titans. It's officially, if you got a good Navy, if you got, cannons on trains, technology is officially caught up to Titans, and you can't just rule with Titan power alone. So that could be the 10th Titan is technology. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But there's going to be something along those lines with how many images and references to birds there are in this show.
Especially this episode when we got Mikasa's flashback. What'd you think of that before we close out this episode?
I don't know, because it was her and Eren rescuing her from her kidnapping, and Eren, it was mostly about Eren murdering the two guys. Like, he was just
which we've seen before though.
Yeah, and like, because when it was just a sight of Eren where he's just brutally stabbing this kidnapper over and over again. Because like, they say when she got, goes Super Saiyan, like Super Ackerman right there, but they don't show it, and it's just like it was one stab directly to the heart, and so it wasn't some brutal overkill like Eren did. I don't know. Like, give me your thoughts about it, because I need to watch it again.
Yeah, I don't know either. I kind of feel like she's definitely tapped into some sort of superpower. We don't know what it is still. We still don't know what it is, but it's definitely some sort of superpower that the Ackermans have.
Yeah.
Even Levi mentioned it when he's like, "Have you ever felt a switch in your brain just go off?"
I just watched that. Yeah, he's like, "Have you ever felt like this power surged through you, and you knew exactly what to do and exactly how to do it, and you could do anything?"
Yeah, and then when she got the flashback, you're right though, because we've seen this before. We've seen that episode, and we've seen it referenced twice before, so we know what happened. We know that Eren, stabbed the shit out of freaking rapists, kidnappers, traffickers, like the most evil dudes there are on the planet, and we didn't really care. But when she saw the flashback, she saw Eren almost being kind of like, it sounded like he was evil. The way he said, "Mikasa," like it sounded like Eren was enjoying stabbing them, which I guess he was. And I was like, why paint it like that? We've seen it before. We know what he did, and we know it was towards evil people. So even if he was enjoying it, like we kind of don't care. So why did they go back and show Eren kind of like evil? Like, I don't know. I was like, I thought that was kind of strange, kind of showing how maybe Eren has been evil all along, and maybe he enjoys killing.
And that's the thing is, like, I think someone in the chat, Red Eyes, her perception of the event is changing, where at the beginning it was a rescue. It really was. But now with Eren's actions, you're maybe remembering things. Yeah, you're remembering things that, like, maybe especially an event like that where she obviously wouldn't black out, but she remembers, him putting the scarf on her and like, shielding for her. She doesn't. Maybe she blacked out like how brutally he murdered,
and how much he enjoyed it.
Yeah, and like that's the thing, because he stabbed the first guy, then closed the door, and then like he jumped, and he was just stabbing him over and over and over again. And so it could be something like that, where Mikasa's maybe distancing herself from Eren, something we never thought we'd see. When literally just the last episode, she threatened Connie, like, I'll kill you. I'll kill you if you try and kill Eren. Like, I'll stop you.
It's very interesting. I'm so curious what that's going to be. I'm sure it's going to be something, but I definitely found it kind of weird and interesting how something we've seen so many times before. We know that Eren stabbed the guy like 20 times and he was like enjoying it. Like, but now we got a little bit of like a conniving side to it. So it's a little bit odd to see them show that side, but I definitely found that interesting for sure. Any final thoughts, Ben, on the episode before we take off?
No, but this is just one of those like conspiracy theory things where we don't know what's going to happen. So honestly, like even as like a quote unquote slower episode, it's fun to theorize what's going to happen, like what Zeke's plan is, what Yelena's doing, because I feel like they've planned all this out. I feel like even Flock and them going to prison is planned. Like I feel like Yelena's like, they're going to find out and they're going to put you in prison. I don't know if it's the same prison as Eren. Probably, I'd hope not. But I feel like Zeke has planned out. He's like Ocean's 11, this whole thing, everybody into their little chess pieces and moves.
Yeah.
And I don't know what pieces are going to fall next. And I need to I'm going to write a note to myself. Don't drink coffee next Sunday, so you're not extra anxious while you're watching this 25 minutes of anime, because like, especially, oh my gosh, the Warhammer Titan episode where people were flying around and I was like, who's gonna die? Someone's gonna die. It was just too much for me. So what about you? Any final thoughts, bud?
No, that's it, man. I mean, obviously, I'm so curious about Zeke too, because I still find it hard to believe that Zeke is the kind of guy who would go full Eldian for like 40 years or however old he is, and then all of a sudden be like, well, actually, I agreed with my dad all this time. Long live the Eldian Empire. I think that's hard to swallow for me. That's hard to accept. So I don't know if that's really the case. But at the same time, I feel like, man, dude, Zeke being the mastermind, and it's like we kind of needed one more mastermind, and we know who that is, but he's gone. That's Erwin. If Erwin was here, I can't lie, bro. This wouldn't happen. Zeke would have no shot. He would have no shot.
No, like
he would be.
Armin would have had Historia on lockdown.
Yeah,
he would have had Yelena on lockdown, and the minute
he would have had
like 8 on the airship.
Yeah,
like they would have stopped in the middle of the ocean and been like, "Zit, 8, done." Like game over.
Yeah, it's Yeah, it's a whole different story because Zeke, I do feel like Zeke is the kind of guy who can outsmart Hanji and Levi. I think he can. But I don't. But the problem with Armin is that he's still too kind-hearted. He's still too kind. You know what I'm saying? Like he's
Armin
still
and Mikasa are going to talk to Eren, and I don't know if that's next episode. I didn't see that.
I hope so, man.
I would think so too. And I think it'll be too little too late, but I think Armin's going to discover Zeke's plan like to a T, because we saw it in season 3 where like he was like, he found Reiner in the wall. He knew Bertolt was coming. Like he figures out these plans. Sure. And so I think Armin is going to find out, regardless of what Eren tells him, he's going to find out Zeke's plan.
That's a good point. Yeah. Alrighty, man. Where can everyone find you?
Everywhere at the Ben Goddard, y'all. It's always so much fun talking for an hour about this show. Like, I wish we got 2 episodes a week because I just need it. So I'll go back to binge watching season 3 and possibly the new episode of Jujutsu Kaisen. Please text me updates about that show because I want to get all your thoughts on it.
I'm loving it, honestly. Please go follow Ben at all he does. And you can follow me at Squad Leader Race. You can follow our YouTube channel at First Cut and follow us on social media at First Cut TMO. I'm at Squad Leader Race as well. I'll be tweeting more about Attack on Titan. I'll be rewatching this episode and then watching more Jujutsu Kaisen. Is that how you say it?
Jujutsu Kaisen, yeah.
Jujutsu Kaisen. Either way, guys, for the First Cut crew, we're peacing out. Peace.
Peace. Gabi, stop.